Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to Public Laws 1975, Chapter 2, 3, and 1. This agenda is complete to the extent known and was sent to the Trenton Times, posted on the first floor bulletin board in City Hall, and filed with the City Clerk's office. Formal action will be taken. Roll call. Councilwoman Edwards.
Present.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Present.
Councilwoman Leroy Edwards.
Present.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilman Harrison. Present. Councilwoman Williams.
Present.
Council President Brisbane.
Present.
Myself, Randy Garcia, present. Mr. West Bridges. Present. And Ms. Pelosi. Present. Thank you. On your call, Madam President.
Proceed.
Certainly. Madam President, I will read the invocation.
Thank you.
Almighty God, who holds the fate of man and nation, we most humbly beseech thee to bless this, our city, these deliberations, and these thy servants, that they may act with wisdom and understanding for the good of our community and thy greater glory. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. And Madam President, we have some presentations this evening. And our first presentation is a student presentation from Foundation Academy National Honor Society.
Awesome. We need you to speak into your mic, please. And press the red button. Press the button. There you go.
Thank you for this opportunity. We appreciate being able to come and meet with you and share the presentation that our students worked hard to prepare. And here we are.
Good evening, members of the Trenton City Council. First things first, I'd like to thank you all for allowing us to have this opportunity and thanking the Almighty God for giving us this opportunity today to be here. My name is Jediah Worrell. And on behalf of the National Honor Society, we present the question, what does Trenton need? When people think of Trenton, they think of the crime, the poverty, the violence. What many fail to realize is that for us, Trenton represents hope. Trenton has taught us that although life can seem easy, being part of NHS has allowed us to be involved in our community through acts of service. These opportunities have motivated our members to come back every single year to make a change. Although Trenton is a place filled with endless possibilities, a place I call home, we are in dire need of a transformation. It's time to change the way we view education, create spaces for the youth to seek enjoyment, and rebuild and clean up neglected neighborhoods.
What would Trenton look like if we had the same opportunities as other counties? We would have creativity, innovation, and inspiration. We would no longer be confined to the traditional methods of teaching. Our schools need to be filled with engaged students that are encouraged to try their interests. In this vision, the Trenton education system will equip our students with the tools they need to succeed beyond limits. The reality of our education system is far from this, but hopefully we can readjust our system to make this our future. According to the United States Census Bureau, out of the Trentonians 25 years and older, only about 75% of them graduated from high school, and only a smaller 15% has a master's degree or more. Factors such as limited resources and lack of opportunities are what contribute to these statistics. Education in Trenton is in a constant cycle because of the mentality that because we are from low-income communities, our futures are set in stone. We have to change this mentality, and we have to start from the individuals that run the system. We have to start by allocating resources. The City Council can work together and allocate additional funding and resources to urban schools. We have to create opportunities for students by providing more extracurricular activities that allow for students to explore new things. We have to emphasize on working together with public and charter schools to hear how to collaborate to make the education better for all of us.
Another aspect of Trenton, which could use a lot of collaboration from us, would be in terms of recreation. We find that in Trenton, a major inhibitor towards both students, parents, children from partaking in the current recreational opportunities would be safety. Not only is there an issue with abandoned buildings that have shattered windows and decrepit facilities, but the current recreational facilities that we do have are often understaffed and underdeveloped. Take, for example, the Sam Naples Center, which is an after-school facility for school children, which unfortunately lacks a lot of the resources necessary or vital in providing its children with success and happiness. Concerns about these abandoned buildings have been going on for a while, and while there have been plans to partake in demolition in neighborhoods of high abandonment rates, most of this will be going towards housing. However, we say that housing is not enough. We need this space to be repurposed into more outdoor activity. We need more space for biking, for picnics, for community building, things which encourage positive mental health and joyful interaction. We have some spaces like this in Trenton. Take, for example, Cadwater Park, which does have the fields, beautiful river, and holds many events, but for some Trentonians, this isn't an easy place to get to. We need these sort of parks and spaces throughout Trenton so that it's applicable for all Trentonians and not just some.
Another pressing issue in Trenton is the care we have for our environment. Let's imagine a city where dilapidated buildings find new purpose, where neglected neighborhoods experience a revival, renovated streets become places of activity filled with creativity and commerce, and lastly, green initiatives are launched to provide our city with sustainability. The possibilities are endless. Now let's look at the reality in Trenton. Everywhere we go, we see that we don't live in the most appealing community. From litter clogging up sewer drains to having no decent views for students like us to take, for example, Instagram pictures. Not only would making changes improve the environment externally, but it would also encourage us to make better decisions as a planet. Thus, we compiled a few ideas that are realistic and doable. First, we believe that providing bigger trash cans in the community and having more garbage pickup days will prevent the buildup of trash, which will lead to clean, more organized streets. Secondly, we can recruit the help of sanitation workers to help clean places like parks and rivers. And lastly, by adding embellishment like flowers, we can help make Trenton more appealing, so people would feel comfortable and welcome in their own city. This city isn't just a place, it's our home.
So, what can you do? As City Council, you can invest resources into the city. This includes, but not limited to, improving park conditions, like reinforcing litter and replacing the old park equipment, repurposing abandoned buildings, reserving areas for graffiti, police holding block parties to build community, accessible sports fields, hosting game nights, and last, but certainly not least, adding more crosswalks, crossing guards, entry signs around the heavily populated areas, specifically school zones. So, why is this important? On Cash Street, near my high school, one of my friends were hit by a vehicle. Thankfully, this accident was not fatal, but for many people, they're not so lucky. If Cash Street had more guards, more street signs, more road bumps, this could have been prevented. This was something that really impacted myself and my school community. So if these changes are made in Trenton, then it can become a safer place for students like me.
As we did research as to what Trenton has to offer its citizens, we realized that a lack of communication and updated information needs to be greatly improved on. We need to improve communication on events being held, programs being launched, and community resources being offered. Trenton needs to find a way to deliver information that reaches all of its citizens and make sure that the information is current and up to date. You can create public bulletin boards, revamp areas, and post on one local networking board.
We understand that what we bring today will not happen overnight. Change takes time, effort, and most of all, community. But having you here today, having us here today, listening to what we simply request is a major part of the process. So we thank you.
Council, that was an excellent presentation. I loved your eye contact, I have to say that. That one of the things I'm still working on when I'm reading is keeping my head down. And you all four of you did an excellent job with that. And I have to say another thing that I really appreciate is that you didn't just come to us with issues, you came to us with solutions. And you do recognize that it is not something that is going to happen overnight. But with your help, we can accomplish it. So especially since you're the tech generation. So all of these communications, we are all in agreement with you. I don't think there's a member up here that would disagree with anything that you have presented to us on today. And they absolutely, you guys are not only worth it, but you are worthy of it. What the other towns have, you absolutely should have. There's no reason for you not to have it. Be it in your parks, be it in your community, be it in your school, where you're walking. You're worthy of those things that everybody else has. We shouldn't be wishing for it. It should be given to us. Again, I love saying this, we are the capital city, and we should be operating in excellence. And that's what you did today. This evening, you presented in excellence. So kudos to you, kudos to your teachers, kudos to your parents. I applaud the parents, those of you who are able to make it out here tonight to support your children. That's one of the biggest things that you can do for a student is to show them that you're there, backing them, supporting them. So if I had a hat, I'd tip it to you, but I do, I appreciate that as a mom. I appreciate that as one who looked for my mom whenever I had something. I wanted to say, you hit it all, the abandoned buildings, the game nights and all that, the crosswalks. I like that you were inclusive of everyone. So I'm going to yield, but I did just want to acknowledge that. I just appreciate that, and I am sorry for your classmate who was hit on Cass Street, but I'm thankful that it was not into death. And yes, we want to make sure that everybody is safe. So that is an absolute priority. You are our priority. Thank you.
I'd just like to just say thank you for coming. I know this wasn't easy, particularly as you start your school year. But before they do, like they would be great if we could go down and take a picture with them. But I would like to ask a question, because one of the things you brought up is something that we struggle with continually, which is communication. So I know if one of you can take a question, how would you look at balancing more traditional communication methods, like you saw, you had bulletin boards there, etc., versus social media, because sometimes we can have an over-reliance on social media. I'd like to get your perspective. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last remark?
Sure, no problem. As regarding communication, you have a lot of good different methods, even bulletin boards as well as social media. And one of the things we do struggle with as a city, as a government, is communicating to other Trentonians what's going on in the city. So I wanted to, since you spent some time looking at this issue, what your perspective would be on how to balance that, and maybe some things we can specifically do to make sure we're not over-reliant on the social media, which a lot of people, that we really do, we miss them.
Yeah, I see what you mean with the social media, that over-presence, and not everyone follows Trenton, so they don't know about these events. That's why I commented on the local networking board, because with that, that's public, people walking through, they can see that, read that, go on their way, and then remember that information.
Hello guys, really quickly, I just wanted to say, with regards to, well, one, I want to applaud you guys for coming and speaking in front of council today. That takes a lot of guts, and I applaud you guys. But I just want to say, to the extent of the issue with CAS and 129, this has been something that I have been trying to figure out a solution to for quite some time, especially, since my tenure and while I was running. And, we have had crossroads, being that it is city and county and state, at these intersections where the highway is. But I applaud you guys coming before and, giving your testimony about what's happening. As we all know, there are so many issues happening at these intersections, and hopefully we can come to some type of conclusion together to figure out how we can make these intersections much more safer. You guys are relatively a lot younger. I can remember before the highways were built, I lived in South Trenton, and they were dirt roads. So they were not highways, were not roads or anything. So I can definitely understand where you guys are coming from, and hopefully we can come to some conclusion to make these intersections safer for our elderly, for our students, for everybody who are at these intersections. I know we just had another death at CAS and 129. It wasn't a student, it was somebody else. So it is problematic. So thank you guys for bringing that, and for you guys being aware to bring that to our attention. I definitely appreciate you guys who are listening, and we are trying to actively find solutions. So thank you.
Madam President. Thank you. So let me say, congratulations on taking one of your first steps forward in advocating for your community and for the people. And thank you for doing that. Not only just to be representatives of your school, but to represent the National Honor Society and to take it beyond the school walls, which many don't do, to come forward and speak. So kudos to you all for doing that. Again, for bringing us a dynamic presentation, very well thought out and intentional, right? And with challenges for us to continue to look to make things better. And so I thank you again for your commitment to your city, to the people, to yourselves, to the youth, for exercising your voice and for coming forward. And then for challenging us to do what it is that we were elected here to do, right? To work with each other, to work with the administration, to do what's best for everyone as best we can in the city. So I just want to say thank you, congratulations, and I look forward to seeing and hearing so much more from each of you as you go along and continue your academic journey forward. Thank you.
Go ahead. Really quickly, because I don't want to be repetitive, but I just wanted to express my proudness of you. I'm grateful for the youth to come in here and be that voice for the voiceless, for your friends. Thank you for advocating for public safety measures to be taken and implemented, because it's something that we talk about all the time. And being solutions-based is the only way that we're going to get things done. A lot of people talk about the things that's wrong, but they miss out on the solutions. So I appreciate you guys for saying that. And communication is key to everything. Language, how you speak to people, your perspective, your perception is everything. So that's something that we have been advocating for all across the board, is more outreach. And we are so highly dependent on social media these days, and we forget that interpersonal connection, that door to door. That's how I'm sitting on this dais, going door to door, telling people, advocating for the needs, the changes that we need in our community. So I would love to see our students more engaged in the outreach and that part of communication gaps that we are missing in our community. If you guys can implement some type of program or think about a program that would involve students after school to maybe intern with the various departments in City Hall and help them communicate with the community. Go door to door, take pictures of the parks and follow up on these plans. But don't let this be your final step. I would love to see you hands-on and involved in implementing these things. So I appreciate you for taking the time to come and speak with us and share your ideas.
Thank you. I'm going to just echo most of what everyone has said. We're all going to sound the same because we are extremely proud of you for coming here. So thank you for the information that you shared for us. Thank you for the time that you put in into actually putting the presentation together, putting the folders and everything together for us. It's a lot of information, and it's great information for us to know. To Councilwoman Edwards and Feliciano, just the first step that you guys took was being involved and engaged in the process. So as she just said, we hope that you won't stop here because it's a partnership. Yes, we work for the people, but we can't do it without you. And the fact that you guys came here gives us some insight on things we may not have known, things we do know that is a challenge in our city. So thank you again. And like she said, we hope to see you again, and maybe this can begin a partnership between us and you and City Hall, and that way you guys can become more involved in all the solutions in the future that we can come up together with. Thank you.
Reading, starting at the beginning, it says, what does Trenton need? Trenton needs more students like you, that you're looking out for the future of the city. Because hopefully in the near future, one day you'll be sitting up here, or you'll be the next mayor, or the next doctor, or the next person advocating to move this city, like you said, into the future. We need more passionate, and I'm grateful to see you guys here tonight and speaking from your heart. And look, it's a team effort. So it has to deal with the administration, the council, everybody in this room. So thank you for all you do. And like I said, we need to continually work together because you are our future. So thank you so much.
Awesome. So with that, we'd like to join our eloquent speakers down on the floor for a quick photo. Thank you. And I do want to thank Councilwoman Williams for bringing all of you to our attention.
We can go by the seats. No, I'll wait real quick. And just take a minute. All right. We're going to go up the steps. We're going up the steps.
Organization,
Yes.
and that will be from the business administrator and assistant business administrator, Mr. Cruz and Mr. Cherry.
Madam President, thank you. Adam Cruz, Business Administrator, City of Trenton. Thank you, Council Body. We actually appreciate the opportunity to come back in front of you and give you a refresher on the budget that was introduced back on June 22nd. I guess several months have passed since, and we felt that, after some of the things that we were hearing, we'd rather come back to you and kind of touch up on some of the things, especially now that we have a budget amendment. I think it's better that we also present that to you as well. I'm not sure if we sent this to you yet, Mr. Clerk, but this presentation sent to you for you to share with council, but not yet. But not this one? Not this updated one? All right, so when I go back and sit down, I'm gonna send it and share it with all of you. Okay. All right, so the budget really hasn't changed much from 2022, with the exception of some of the grants that have been received, and also some of the, one of the major things actually changes is actually the ARP funding. We have to insert it into the budget, and as you can see, we have to, it's almost a little bit over $30 million, and that's where you will see the bulk of the change on this budget. So the overview actually is that we went to a total of $274 million, which includes grants, and compared to 2022, the increase is $39.6 million. But as I mentioned to you, the increase in the budget is actually for grants that have been received by the city, not only from ARP, but also from the state of New Jersey, Department of Transportation, Department of Health, and those other entities from the state. The municipal tax rate remained the same. This is the fourth budget that this mayor has actually introduced, and this is a big thing. Zero tax increase, municipal taxes. Constituents continue to request that we keep taxes flat, and once again, we were able to actually, work with the ECA. They see the need of the city, but at the same time, they also don't want to pass down the pain to the taxpayers. And so we were successful at doing a zero tax increase municipal. Don't forget, the libraries, as well as school boards, and also the county, do their own tax increases, but we have no control over that. Those are libraries and as well as the county, the school board, we have no control of their budgets. That is something that will continue to go on, whether we do an increase or not. Their budget may increase at some point, but we're doing what we can on our end in controlling expenses, and so we were able to submit a zero tax increase. The amended calendar year 2023 budget includes funding for 20 firefighters and 31 police officers above the current complement, which means whatever we have, whatever many officers or firefighters we have, we were also able to work with DCA to permit us to work and get additional police officers and firefighters to help protect our city. The amended 2023 budget includes $25 million in transitional aid, $10 million in capital city aid, $6.2 million in municipal relief fund aid as well. The amended calendar year budget is at the appropriation cap, which means we cannot fit anything more into this budget than what is already there. And I appreciate, actually, we're very appreciative of the council because you were able to, like, you got it. You know, we were able to work with you when we said the cap is this, we are at our limit, we're breaking, you know, at the seams, we cannot include anything else in there, and, you know, you heard it, you worked with us, so we thank you for that. And so everything that you have here is actually coordinated effort from the administration as well as council to actually submit a balanced budget, but at the same time, everything that is under the cap will remain under the cap. On this chart, if you look at the very end where it says variance, that's where you will see actually the differences from what was introduced to what actually changed on the budget amendment. So if you look at the first line, you will see that the state aid, you see an increase of $6.151 million. That is additional funding that we received while we were in the holding pen for us to adopt the budget. In grants, it was $21,810,000, and for a total of $39 million, which equals $39,632,534.09. It's funny how you see the 9 cents after 39 million, but because we have to be extremely accurate, you know, you'll see the 9 cents there. Appropriations, the biggest change you will see is salaries and wages, $392,926. And that is actually for the police contracts. As you know, we were able to settle the police contracts, and that includes an increase in salaries for the officers as well. So that's where that increase comes into play. When it comes to that, because there was an increase in salaries, we have to find another part in the budget, because as I mentioned, we have to stay within the cap. We have to find another place from the budget to pull the money out of. And so the adjustment came from, again, salaries, $391,493. We also did a reduction in operating expenses from the department, $48,808.91. And in utilities, we increased the utility cost by $41,787. Grants in grant matches, it went up $21,810,918.61. And capital improvements went up by $6,151,567. Deferred charges and judgments, it increased by $5,588.91. And the grand total, as you can see at the bottom, is actually the number that I mentioned to you before in the total, $39,630,000. $934.09.
Good evening, members of council. Good evening, members of the public. This is just a pie chart of our revenue forecast. As Mr. Cruz spoke to, this hasn't really changed in any significant way, though the total state aid has increased slightly, but we just wanted to reflect that it is a very similar outlook. Our revenue summary, we total $246.2 million, and then we have another $27.8 million in grants. Other state aid, which is a collection of various aid amounts, including energy receipt tax, capital city aid, totals $59.3 million. And as Mr. Cruz spoke to, we've received an additional nearly $6.2 million in municipal relief fund aid. This is a pie chart for our appropriations. Once again, this has not changed much in substance from when we introduced our budget. Some numbers have moved from one place to another, but as Mr. Cruz spoke to, we were already at the cap. So anything that increased had to be met with a commensurate decrease somewhere else. So the overall picture is very similar to what we had at introduction. We have the appropriation summary in words. Essentially, 43% of our budget goes to department costs. Fringe benefits are 23%. Debt service is about 10%. General liability and workers' comp insurance, 3%. And then the final 21% is reserved for uncollected taxes, grants, library, utility expenses, our shared services, deferred charges, and those miscellaneous things. And our salary adjustment line, which is the line that we use to put money aside for retros or other payments that may come out of union negotiations. And as Mr. Cruz said, we have maintained a identical municipal tax rate to CY 2022, and this is where we are. We will, in addition to sending this to members of council, we will post this on our website in the budget section, along with the adopted budget, assuming it is adopted this evening. So members of the public can see the introduced budget, our introduced budget presentation, both of which are currently and have been live on the website since the day after our introduction. They will also see the adopted budget and this adopted budget presentation.
Council members, do we have any questions?
Council President?
Councilman Williams.
First of all, I want to thank Mr. Cruz for taking a picture for me outside. He did a great job. I had two questions regarding slide forward, calendar year 2023 appropriation summary. So where we have the overall department costs representing 43% of appropriations, and then also debt service representing 10%. Are they pretty much consistent with budgets over the past several years?
Yes, they fluctuate maybe 1% here or there, but that's a pretty common number. You're going to see somewhere in the vicinity of 43 to 45% for department costs, and in the vicinity of 10 to 12% for debt service.
So regarding, it seems we've stabilized as far as inflation, cost of living adjustments, and as well as Federal Reserve increases of interest rates. So you would expect for the next, going into the next budget to remain about the same numbers?
We do expect them to remain about the same, but I will say that inflation affects the other numbers to a similar percent. So while those numbers get bigger, the percentages remain similar.
Gotcha. All right, thank you very much, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Garcia, proceed.
Council President, this time we have,
I can't hear you, Mr. Garcia.
I have to remember about these mics myself.
Gracias.
On Council President, this time we have the calendar year 2023 municipal budget amendment hearing, which we will open up to the public. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak in reference to this amendment? Council President, I see none, and if it's your wish, we could move to the adoption of the budget with amendments. Resolution 23-421, resolution adopting calendar year 2023 municipal budget.
May I have a motion?
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call the roll. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Figueroa Gettler.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
And Council President Brisbane.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
And as I understand it, Council President, the cannabis dispensary presentation that I thought was for today will be scheduled for Thursday. So we will have that on Thursday as opposed to today. Is that correct?
Which one was that for?
Solicitor, this is for NJ Weedman's Dispensary LLC.
That will not be going forward on Thursday either.
Will not be going forward Thursday.
It will not.
Understood. So postpone until further notice. Council.
That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. West. Councilwoman Figueroa Gonzalez.
Figueroa Gettler.
Figueroa
Yes.
Gettler, I'm sorry. Mr.
Okay.
Figueroa.
Mr. Bridges, could we just have an explanation why?
In this specific instance, it was represented to me that this entity had been before the Cannabis Advisory Committee. There was a bit of confusion on there, and they went before the CRC, the state CRC, but they had not yet gone before the Cannabis Advisory Committee, so that's a necessary step before they can come before this body.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. West.
And Madam President, a moment, may I confer with you for a moment prior to moving forward?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Excuse me all, but thank you very much. Madam President, my understanding is your wish to move to executive session.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that would be resolution 23-410. If you want to ask for a motion to move into executive session.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano. Yes. Councilwoman Figueroa Gettler.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Brisbane.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you very much. As I'll ask the attorneys, do we anticipate any vote coming out of executive session, pertaining to executive session this evening?
The only vote would be with respect to the settlement that's on the agenda.
Thank you very much. And I understand that vote will take place on Thursday as well.
That's correct.
Thank you very much. We can move to executive session.
Session?
Correct.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call the board. Councilwoman Edwards.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano. Yes. Councilwoman Figueroa Gettler.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison. Councilman Harrison is out of the building. At the moment, Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Brisbane.
Yes.
Motion carried. On your vote, Council President.
proceed.
Certainly. And Council President, we're moving straight into ordinances for second reading, public hearing. Ordinance 23-049, an ordinance amending and supplementing sections 248-8D of the City of Trenton City Code relative to the time of placement of garbage and trash containers for collection.
Do we need a motion?
And that'll be a roll call.
Okay.
No motion needed. Just going through them, if in the event anyone has any questions at this time, being the conference meeting for Tuesday. Ordinance 23-050, ordinance to release, vacate, extinguish any and all public rights to the remaining portion of Baker Alley. And of course, these will require roll call. Ordinance 23-051, ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property identified on the city tax map as 6365 Bills Place Alley, Block 10308, lots 28 and 29 pursuant to NJSA 48:12-13B5 to Tanisha Ruffin for the sum of $2,080. Ordinance 23-052, ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 2, Article 14, Boards, Bodies, and Commissions of the Trenton City Code to rename and amend Cultural Resources Council to the Multicultural Heritage Board. Ordinance 23-053, an ordinance continuing certain positions, fixing salary ranges, therefore setting forth certain regulations for the implementation of these ranges. Ordinance 23-054, an ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property identified on the city tax map as 528 Lamberton Street, Block 10308, Lot 13, pursuant to NJSA 48:12-13B5 to Nicole K. Nolan for the sum of $2,850. Ordinance 23-055, an ordinance amending Chapter 42 of the Code of the City of Trenton to adjust construction and inspection fees. Ordinance 23-056, an ordinance establishing and amending salaries and compensation of the Trenton City Council.
Council President,
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
I just wanted to make a correction on this one.
It has been noted, that correction has been made. The original to this copy was corrected for that purpose.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Certainly.
Council President?
Councilwoman Williams.
So regarding 23-048, cannabis ordinance, so it looks like it's not coming up for vote tonight. Will that be coming up on Thursday as well?
No, that's the one that was pulled by admin,
Okay.
and it is until they make whatever necessary
I
adjustments.
just want to make sure I have a couple amendments, revision of one amendment.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Garcia?
Certainly. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution 23-410 is done. Resolution 23-411, resolution authorizing 60-day contract extension from September 16, 2023 to November 15, 2023 to Maestro Technologies, Inc. for technical support services for the City of Trenton Department of Administration, Division of Management Information Systems CC 2020-08 in an amount not to exceed $129,142.50.
So we need a motion.
I don't believe we need a motion at this time. This would be for
This
consent.
is a motion, I'm sorry, is that for, it is for roll call? Thank you, sir.
Roll call?
No, we want it, no, that's what I'm saying, so do we don't I need a motion in order to ask, for them to ask questions on this? Or no? How does, where are we with that? No, I didn't know if anyone needed. No, okay, then no, we're good.
Motion second.
No, consent, I'm sorry. Yes.
Right. Understood. So, right, so it will be Thursday, we're going to consent here, correct?
Okay.
Resolution 23-419, resolution authorizing the appropriation of $1,200,000 from the funds allocated to the City of Trenton under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 for an upgrade of the City of Trenton Municipal Court Information Technology System and equipment.
Questions? Consent?
No.
Yes, Councilwoman.
Can somebody just explain that in a little more detail?
Thank you. Good evening, Council President, Council. On behalf of the Municipal Court, I'm Tanya Stewart, the Municipal Court Director. The current infrastructure that we have in the Municipal Court is unable to support the technology advances within the Municipal Court, especially since COVID. We're no longer manual processing, everything is electronic. We are a court that operates 70% virtual and 30% in session. The IT department has been supporting us for the past 4 years that I've been here when the system goes down. But over that time period, we have just been putting band-aids on the repairs that need to be done. At this point, we're trying to be proactive before the system goes down completely, which would shut down the operations of the municipal court. The technology supports everything from the entering of tickets, the dispositions of the tickets and complaints, down to our sound recording system and the virtual court sessions that we do every day. Parts of the system hasn't been updated since 1986. So we are in great need of replacing the current IT system within the municipal court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Madam President, I have a question, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to read for the record a question that was asked from somebody in the prosecutor's office about this. I know this was answered last night by both Mr. Adam Cruz and Mr. Beach, but I just wanted to read it for the record. Give me 1 second, I'm sorry. Just so the public and the council has had a chance to see what the questions were. Mr. Cruz, I'm sorry, I can't find the exact email, I'm looking for it. But basically, it was about, with this, the money's going to, the appropriation going to upgrading the system, what would be the downtime, and what would be the effects on the system as it stood. And I know, like I said, Mr. Cruz, I know you answered the question, but I just wanted you to do it for the record, please. Thank you.
Please, the municipal prosecutors work on a totally different server than the municipal court. There currently is a server that holds some of the records for the prosecutors, which is in our IT closet. With this transition, that server will be moved into the appropriate department for the municipal prosecutors. They are not part of the municipal court personnel. They fall under the direction of the law department. Any interruptions that department may have had, it was no result of the municipal court system. It may just been the outage of electricity within the whole building itself. But they work on a completely different server than the municipal court.
Thank you. I just found the email. The email exactly was that my office shares a server with the court. So if they are doing work on their computer system, my office is unable to do any work. This is why they were asking.
No, I will be coordinating with the transition for that one particular server that is utilized by the municipal prosecutors to be moved to the appropriate department so there will be no interruptions in their service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council President, what's the time frame? What's the time frame for this to happen, the upgrade?
I'll be meeting with the IT supervisors in regards to the order of the equipment and so forth. We're hoping to start within the new year.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Garcia.
Would that be for a roll call or consent?
Consent.
Noted. Resolution 23-421 has been passed. Resolution 23-422, resolution of the City Council of the City of Trenton referring ordinance 23-048 entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 146 of the Code of the City of Trenton and supplementing various redevelopment plans and the land development ordinance to permit cannabis uses to the Planning Board of the City of Trenton.
Questions? Consent. Is there a reason why we did not, 23-421? We did pass it already?
I believe we passed that.
We did pass, so with the meeting, okay,
Passed the
sorry.
budget. With
Oh,
amendments.
that's why you brought it up. Thank you.
Resolution 23-412 is a roll call, has been determined to be a roll call resolution. Resolution 23-420, resolution authorizing appropriation of $150,000 from funds allocated to the City of Trenton under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 for the purchase of 3 surveillance drones.
I'm sorry. Consent.
Noted. Resolution 23-413, resolution awarding contract to SHI International for the purchase of 5 mobile surveillance trailers awarded through New Jersey Cooperative Alliance CK04 subcontract number 22-24 for the Trenton Police Department in an amount not to exceed $299,000.
Questions? Consent.
Resolution 23-414, resolution authorizing the City of Trenton to apply for and accept the fiscal allotment not to exceed $300,000 from the New Jersey Urban Enterprise Zone Authority Zone Assistance Fund to create a marketing fund to sponsor promotional activities that promote UEC businesses.
Questions? Consent.
Resolution 23-415, resolution authorizing the City of Trenton to apply for and accept a fiscal allotment not to exceed $218,626 from the New Jersey Urban Enterprise Zone Authority Zone Assistance Fund for the administrative budget for the fiscal year 2024.
Questions? Consent.
Resolution 23-416, resolution authorizing the City of Trenton to apply for and accept the fiscal allotment not to exceed $100,000 from the New Jersey Urban Enterprise Zone Authority Zone Assistance Fund to improve wayfinding in commercial corridor.
Questions? Consent.
Resolution 23-417, resolution awarding contract to C&M Auto Parts Incorporated for the purchase of auto parts, accessories, maintenance, repair, and upgrade of various vehicles for the Department of Water and Sewer Division of Construction and Maintenance awarded through state contract number T-276186059 in an amount not to exceed $75,000.
Questions? Consent.
Resolution 23-418, resolution authorizing a contract awarded to 22nd Century Technologies, Inc. for 5 temporary staffing positions for Trenton Waterworks, awarded through New Jersey State Contract number M-2001-23 GNSBI 35293 in an amount not to exceed $100,000 for a period of 6 months.
Questions?
Council President?
Councilwoman Williams?
I have a question for Mr. Semple, if he could tell us what those positions actually will be, what the work duties would be.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Sean Semple, Acting Director of Water and Sewer. We have been experiencing we have a lot of vacancies, number one, in our staff, and we're about to embark on some major projects within the utility. My way of vetting people before I employ them is bring them in temporarily, because most of our entry-level positions come from temporary hires. Usually people would come in for 90 days, and after 90 days, we see a different person. So this will help us to vet people better to come in. Now, we have a smart meter project that's coming on board that we need the clerical assistance. That's we hope to install over the next 2 years almost 20,000 meters. Our accounts payable staffing, we've had a young lady who's been out. She has some ailment. She's been out for almost a year already. We have a huge backlog, so we are requiring some more help in that thing. So I don't know if this young lady is going to ever return, but this is where we need help. We also lost one of our bilingual accounts clerks that went to sewer, and so we're just trying to backfill that position for now. But this is my way of vetting people coming into the utility.
Okay. right, thank you. And then just one other question. How soon would you be able to bring them on board if this resolution passes?
Hopefully, once it's adopted,
Okay.
they're ready. We started the interview process.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call.
Noted. Moving on to ordinances, first reading and introduction. Ordinance 23-58, an ordinance amending section 10-5H2 of the Municipal Code, alcoholic beverages in the city of Trenton to exempt the entertainment districts within the city of Trenton from certain restrictions of alcohol sales and create restaurant rows.
Madam President,
Madam Vice President.
with regard to this, can someone give just a brief explanation, like just from the standpoint of, if we're looking downtown on Warren Street, right? So currently we would have the station that was there, we would have other restaurants that are in that area. If we're establishing a restaurant row, and then you're limiting or doing away with the feet, the 1,000 feet in between that the restaurants have to have and all that good stuff, what does that mean for the other restaurants that don't currently have like liquor licenses? Are we going to be able to get more? Like, how does this work exactly? If someone can tell us. So like you have Skillet down there, you have the Big Easy down there, you have the station, you have, you know what I mean, the Hummingbird, all of that. Will they be able, if that's like a restaurant row area, will they be able to then get liquor licenses as well, or no?
Thank you for that, Council Vice President. Jim Beach, Acting Director of Housing and Economic Development. It's not something we had really contemplated. It's something I think we need to take up with the ABC, because if it's going to be a modified type of license that we're talking about with a limited use to it, it's possible we can potentially ask for more of those licenses of that type. But it's a point well taken that we might want to take up if you pass this ordinance.
Madam President.
Councilwoman Williams, I'm sorry, Evans. Sorry.
So this was something that I've been talking about for a long time, so thank you. I'm excited to see this coming down the pipeline. But to Councilwoman Feliciano's point, I know that we are over capacity of our licenses because, I guess our licenses predated the state's restrictions and limitations. Do you know if the state is in the process now, because I know they were talking about eliminating that and opening up, or eliminating some restrictions and opening up more licenses for municipalities? Do you have any updates on whether that's coming to fruition or not anytime soon? So that
Councilwoman, I've not heard anything further on that since the governor, I think he made his announcement as part of his State of the State back in, I think that was April, but I've heard nothing further. I don't know whether the clerk has heard anything more from his side.
No.
Okay, so is anyone going to reach out to work with the state to figure out, once we change this and lift these restrictions for Restaurant Row, how soon can we move on allowing people to apply for licenses? Because every business that Councilwoman Feliciano mentioned wants a license.
We will work with the clerk's office, as that technically falls under their jurisdiction.
Okay, thank you.
We'll follow any laws that are, that were updated on via statute. That's it.
Council President. It's kind of more of a thought than necessarily a question, but one way to look at this might be, since there's so many pocket licenses, and some of the restaurants that are operating downtown have approached me about what to do in that situation. I've advised them to come talk to you with the clerk, but trying to purchase some of these pocket licenses and also increase the value of a license in Trenton. And also in some neighborhoods, there are some bars that are struggling, and some bars in neighborhoods where probably would be beneficial to the city to have those licenses move downtown from some of the residential neighborhoods they're in. So
that might be something to look at, is creating a market for these licenses to move downtown, and particularly the excess pocket licenses. Thank you.
Council President. Yeah, regarding this entertainment district, you're only going to be consuming the liquor when you're eating in the restaurant. You're not going to be able to take it out.
That's correct.
That's the difference.
Yes, and
Right.
there's no packaged goods.
There's no packaged goods leaving the establishment. That's the difference.
Correct.
Right, thank you.
Council President, just one more question. We have a big issue of stagnant licenses. So we approved earlier this year on Broad Street, on South Broad Street, a license that was in use since like 1980 something. And that potentially hindered anyone within 1,000 feet of it. So is there something is that a state statute that we can't revoke licenses that are stagnant like that? Or can we do something about that? Is that a municipal level thing? Can anyone answer that question? So whether if someone doesn't use their license for 2 years, we can revoke their license and allow someone else the opportunity to use it, because I feel like people are sitting there waiting on their $1 million, offer to sell it.
I'm going to look to legal counsel and the clerk for that.
I'll defer to the attorneys. If not, then I'll answer.
Madam President, just before they answer, I'm just curious to say that even if they're not utilizing their license for some time, they're still paying on the license is still paid. So they may not be utilizing it, but it's still under their ownership.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Correct. They're still paying the fees to the city.
Councilors, there was a question as to whether or not we can revoke an unused license. And the question was punted to the lawyers.
Yes. Can you revoke someone's license for violations?
No, for basically not using it actively.
For non-use.
No, you can, but you have to go through a process for non-use, and there's a formal process application for the city to be able to take those, but it's basically a fill-in-the-blank section that's not being used as dormant, and then you could bring those licenses back in. I think it's a standard form, if I'm not mistaken, that you fill out for that.
There's a standard form that they fill out. The only other thing that I've ever heard of in other towns is that you can actually bring an individual in for a hearing to ask them what they've been doing in order to move the license, whether they're planning their plans to sell it, etc. But usually the answer to that, as of recent times, pandemic has prevented them from moving the license and selling it. It's difficult to take a license away.
Councilwoman Edwards, they were answering your question.
Thank you. I heard it. Thank you.
My question was, how many of these licenses, this gets go to the clerk, how many licenses do we have that are dormant? Do we have many?
I couldn't give you that figure off the top of my head, but I'd be happy to report it to you in terms of how many licenses lay dormant right now.
Yeah.
I can give you that figure tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, absolutely.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Certainly it's ordinance, so therefore it has to be. We will, Madam President, at this time, if you want to move to public comment.
We have to untable an item.
I'm sorry. Madam President, I understand it is your wish to untable a particular item. If you want a motion to untable that item.
May I have a motion to untable the ordinance?
So moved.
That ordinance being?
The one for the docket.
I'm sorry. So motion to, I'm sorry, that's a motion to untable. And place on for Thursday, so motion to untable and place for Thursday nights, on a vote for Thursday night, Thursday evening?
To untable ordinance 23-057.
Thank you.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second. I'll hold the board. Councilwoman Edwards?
Yes.
Councilwoman Feliciano?
I have a question.
Certainly.
Just for clarity. So we're untabling it, yes. But because of the absence on Thursday, we're untabling it for us to move on it in October?
If I'm able to give a vote via,
Email or proxy?
no, well, yeah, with proxy or the telephone for this.
Thursday, we can move to untable it and schedule it. Yeah, we pulled the whole thing. last
Correct.
time.
Pull the whole thing. This was a motion to untable this, so now this is a motion to.
I'm trying to remember what we did the first time.
We tabled it. It was tabled.
I believe it was tabled.
It was tabled.
It's not to be introduced, you make a motion on table it for it to be introduced Thursday. So you're going to introduce it on table it, introduce it on Thursday, and then the public hearing will be whatever the clerk puts it in October.
Right.
Madam President's question is how can she will not be present, how can she vote on it without being present Thursday?
If she wishes to be present, telephonically.
You can pick the date that you want to do it for, as long as
Right.
you do that, it's just no matter.
Okay.
But I think the question still is that if any of us are not going to be present for a meeting and we want to vote anyway at the meeting, how can we cast a vote
Since the
with the council?
community guidance created, you are allowed to vote electronically by way of communication equipment. I've seen it done by telephone, obviously by Zoom. So if someone is not here present, they can call in as long as everybody can hear them. They can hear everyone. It can be done electronically. Yeah, that's what generally said like that. I'm sorry. Since they initiated the Open Public Meetings Act, council can act if they are not here by virtue of electronic communications equipment. In the old days, they did it by telephone, you could do it by a conference phone, you could do it by a Zoom. Looks like we've got some new equipment, they're speaking to Mr. Gonzalez, but it doesn't matter, as long as the person can hear us, we can hear them, it's fine, they can vote lawfully in that manner.
Thank you.
Oh, so yes to untable it, that's my vote, yes.
Councilman Figueroa Gettleman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes.
Council President Frisbee.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, and moving. Madam President, if it's your wish, we can move to public comment.
Yes, and I defer to Council Vice President. I've got to leave that one out.
On your call, Council Vice President.
Proceed.
Certainly. First individual is Charlotte Tulip. Charlotte, got it. State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Charlotte Tulo. Live at 22 Grand Street, Trenton. I want to thank you, council members, for allowing me to come speak to you today regarding speed bumps and the need for signage at my school. I have two grandchildren that I'm raising that attend Foundation Academy. One is in 5th grade at the 363 West State Street location, and one is a 9th grader at the 22 Grand Street location. At our high school location, our children cross the street to go to gym, which is at the corner of Cass and Grand Street for PE. There are vehicles that are speeding when they make the right off of Cass to Grand Street, and our kids are trying to cross the street, okay? So this is putting our children's lives at risk every day that they cross the street to go to gym. We face this same situation every day doing drop-off and pick-up at the Adeline Street location, Adeline and Cass. There are cars parked on Cass Street, so there's little to no visibility when you're trying to make a left coming out, and the cars are speeding in both directions. Our children have been back at school now approximately 4 weeks, and since then, On 2 separate occasions, I've personally seen 2 children almost get hit by cars. They're just trying to get to school, and we want them to be safe. We are asking for your help to put speed bumps and signage to slow those vehicles down and help protect our children. No one wants to see one of the kids seriously hurt or killed. Each morning when I drop my grandson off at school, I pray for safe passage for him as he crosses Grand Street to go to and from the gym. Your help and consideration in this matter is greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Jose Ortiz.
Good evening. Jose Ortiz, 44 Prospect Street. Like my previous speaker, I'm also a foundation parent. I currently have 3 children at the school, 2 in the West Trenton campus, one in the West Trenton campus and 2 in the high school. I see it every day where the danger is present. Today when I went to pick up my high schooler, I witnessed a school bus that serves the kids, that take the kids to the after school program, actually turn on Cash Street, make a U-turn to go down Cash Street and continue his or her route while the kids are crossing back and forth. People don't want to stop. They know they as soon as they see the school leave or the students leave, it's like a switch goes on and they need to get out of there. Because if they see the train sign go down, it's like, let's go. And they don't stop for these children. My oldest is fighting me constantly, telling me, well, I can get the city bus, and I will not allow it because I'm scared for their safety. There was already an accident. It's another one waiting to happen. So anything that you can do to expedite the placement of, I call them muertos in Spanish, but I don't know how the word is in English. But if you can put those speed reducers, that will at least do something so that people starting to get in their head, this is a school and we need to slow down. Thank you.
Ivy Evans.
Good evening, how's everyone? I am Ivy Avery, and I live at 1 Prospect Street. I've lived in the same house for 40 years. I came to really support Foundation because I was excited when I saw in Trenton Journal that students were actually going to be speaking about what Trenton needs. So kudos, of course, to Foundation. I don't know if you're still here, right? You're with Foundation. So that was a marvelous presentation. Unfortunately, I don't have any visuals. But I agreed with everything they said. And I was going to save this until October, but when I saw that they were speaking, I said, go tonight and do it anyway. What do we need? One of the things that I'm obsessed with is a clean city. I clean up in front of my house across the street. I go down by Foundation. I go around the corner. I clean the Serenity Garden, which is like 5 blocks away from me, and I have to stop myself because cleaning garbage in the city is like Hansel and Gretel. You just keep going and going and going unless you stop. So what am I saying? I think that we have to hold landlords, the people that own these properties that they're renting and making a whole lot of money off of, we need to hold them accountable so that their tenants or they have someone else who comes and cleans. Not only that, the cutting of grass. That's a real thing with me. And what I call what happens in Trenton is urban hacking. They don't do maintenance, they don't trim, they don't cut in the curb, so you have all kind of weeds growing up out of the telephone poles. So we need to address that. Why is that? Why do we allow that to happen? It just makes the city look terrible. So that was one thing, okay? have ward competitions for the best street, the best house. They used to have that, I think. You know, and actually give some incentives, bring them down into the council, give them an award. I probably would get one, because I have a cute house. You know, have a clean patrol, like the Publishers Clearinghouse. So somebody goes out, I don't know which city employee would love to do that, and maybe once a month, a couple of months, or whatever, they'll recognize someone who was out there sweeping. And they get out of the car and say, we are the city of Trenton Clean Patrol. You have just won a gift certificate to ShopRite. That would make a lot of people happy. Put it in the paper. Bring them down to City Hall. Those are small things that would bring attention to the neighborhoods and to the city, working together. What about some billboards? I work with Heal the City. Some of you know that. We've done billboards that have recognized academic scholarship in the city of Trenton. We've worked with the Trenton Public Schools. What about something about living? I would love to see that. And I know the communication is hard. I know stuff costs money. So I know that you are thinking of creative ways to get in touch with people. That last cleanup where they did the 4 wards, West Ward didn't even know about it. Because I went out and I looked. I didn't see anything down West State Street, down West End Avenue. You know, you just didn't get the word out. So that is something. Okay, let me see what else I have here. Oh, what about providing, what do you call those things? I have about 3 of them. The garbage pickers, it makes it very easy to pick up garbage. What if the city had a day where they said we have a limited number, come down and get your own garbage, whatever they call those things. And maybe it would encourage other people to clean up. That's a thought. Okay, I said cutting of grass. I think that's it with the garbage cans. I called for garbage cans, they don't have any. Years ago, there were garbage cans that the city had that actually had a little label or something on it. It said something about keep Trenton clean. What if they had those kind of garbage cans again? That's probably a big expense. But I know we need them in my area. I asked for something, I have it. Street lights. I'm moving away from it. That garbage is really important. I have become so obsessed with it, I think that there might be something wrong with me. Because I go out every other day to clean up in my neighborhood. So, moving right along, street lights out. I don't think a lot of people know that they can just call PSE&G, get the number off the pole, and they can report it, and PSE&G comes out, and they fix these lights. I ride around the city, that's another obsession, and I'm looking, these lights are out on Prospect Street, the lights are out on Stuyvesant. That's not my neighborhood. But maybe there was some kind of campaign where you all could let the residents know this is the process. Because the city is not responsible for doing that. The neighborhood, the people have to be vigilant to do something like that. So that's another thing. And I think, I came to the end of my card. So a couple of my ideas, which I think are good, I'm going to email to all of you through the city clerk. Because you might forget what I said today. But education, of course, the students spoke about it, and it is important. You guys, I think, already do recognition of students. I think you need to do more. I think that the academic scholars need to be recognized just as much as the athletic scholars. We need to place more emphasis on educational.
I just wanted to tell you, there's even an easier way for PSE&G for streetlights. If you go to the website, it's pseng.streetoutages.com. You can actually use a Google Earth map. It's like this, and you can just go in, you can find, it's beautiful, it's pictures of the house that's where the light is, has the pole number, and they come out the next day and do it. Yes, so we need to do both ways.
I can't do it.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. Mi nombre es William Calderón. alcalde electo de la ciudad de Salcajá, en Guatemala.
Bienvenido.
Muchas gracias. Y me gustaría que el director de bomberos de Trenton viniera a explicar cuál es el motivo por el que yo estoy acá en esta ciudad con ustedes esta tarde.
Sorry, I'd like the director from the fire department to come over here, explain to you guys what I'm here for. If you don't mind.
Of course, Director Douglas is involved.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? I have to be consistent, it's that month, right? Good evening, Council. Kenneth Douglas, Director of Trenton Fire and Emergency Services. What we have here is I met the mayor of, let's get the city name, Salcaya, Guatemala, with the mayor last weekend. What day we met? Last Monday? Yes, in the mayor's office and his entourage from Guatemala. Come meet the mayor. Had a great meeting and kind of found out that the mayor is actually a firefighter in his hometown in Guatemala. So over the last 10 years, the fire department has collected a surplus of equipment from buying new equipment, get rid of the old equipment. Now mind you, this equipment that we do have by NFPA standards in the state of New Jersey is, as we got our new equipment, that transition out and we can't use it by, it's life expectancy as our firefighters in the United States, we can't use it anymore. But it's still good equipment that can be used. Consists of turnout gear, fire hose, masks, the harnesses with the air tank, and some other appliances also. So we have probably about 7 pallets of this particular equipment. Instead of giving it away, and actually it's no use for it, there's really no value, because you're talking about maybe over a decade of collecting this equipment. So for that reason, just talking to the mayor, and actually Mr. Adler, who was also, the fact that it'd be good to donate this particular equipment on behalf of the mayor, of course, the municipal council, and the fire department to a much needed city that actually can use this equipment. Now, by United States standards, it's not to the level for the NFPA, but it actually can still be used and utilized to a much needed country or city beyond the United States. For that reason, the mayor agreed with the fact that we can donate this surplus equipment to Mayor William Calderon, to his city in Guatemala. And this is the reason why I came here to ask. We didn't get the approval, the resolution. Yes. The resolution. Next. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't catch the part where he mentioned that this equipment, under the standards of safety here in the United States, all this equipment is actually expired. In these countries, there is no such thing as expired equipment. They can always go ahead and use it. It is too costly for some of these towns to actually be able to afford the equipment. And because it is expired, we cannot even, it will be irresponsible of us to actually try to sell it like we do in auctions. This is expired equipment beyond its, use time. So other municipalities, I think in the past, we've also have done this here in the city. The director prepared a resolution to be walked on today, and we have it. If the council agrees that the resolution can be walked on at the Thursday meeting, it will be ready. The law department still has to review it to make sure that everything is in order, and it can be presented to council for a vote on Thursday as a walk-on.
Thank you. Are you asking if we'll accept the walk-on?
Yes, that is correct. If we can walk it on Thursday, so the mayor is actually leaving to Illinois, I think, in the next couple of days. Fortunately for him and his town, the majority of the people that live in Trenton are actually from downtown, and there are a lot of business owners here in the city that have a way to transport the equipment to Guatemala. So he's asking if we can do the resolution so that he can, have that sent to Guatemala in the coming days.
Yes, so you'll prepare the resolution, have it seen by legal and approved for it to be walked on Thursday, that's fine.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll be here on Thursday as the resolution goes through. And if you wanted more questions, I'll have that information for you, and pictures also. But
Thank you.
that we are donating. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's been 5 minutes. No.
Do you have any questions? Okay.
I have one question.
Yes.
How do you like visiting Trenton?
¿Cómo le gustó la
Ha sido excelente. Muchas gracias por atenderme como me han atendido.
It's so thankful the way they greet him in Trenton. He's so happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah. I want to ask you, how did you enjoy the Guatemala
Madam
parade?
President, I'm sorry, Ms. Deputy, Councilman Harrison, Madam President, Madam Vice President was speaking, and I kind of overtalked her a little bit, just reminding us that there's proper protocol that we need to follow. Thank you.
I thought you did, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, she did.
Councilman Harrison.
Yes, she did, yeah.
Right, so just for proper protocol and decorum, as we would move in the same fashion when Council President is present, if we would just defer to the Vice President to have the floor, I would appreciate it very much of all the council members. Go ahead, Councilman Harrison, thank you.
Yeah, no, I was just asking you how you enjoyed the Guatemalan parade in Trenton.
Excelente. Quedé maravillado de tanta gente guatemalteca que hay en esta área de Trenton.
I'm so happy to see a lot of Guatemala people in this area, especially for my town. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
I have a Vikima J here.
Good evening, Ikema Jordan, resident of 91 Beechwood, Trenton, New Jersey. I'm also a parent who child attends Foundation Academy, and I just wanted to stress the importance of safety and to ensure that safety to the children when it comes to picking up and dropping off at Foundation Academy located on West State Street, Trenton, New Jersey. This is just something that I just wanted to stress the importance of because my child attends that school. And when it comes to picking up and dropping off, it can be sort of a frenzy being as though West State Street is a main road. So whether it's things that help prevent, any catastrophes from happening, things like speed bumps that we can put to control the traffic, and even also law enforcement directing traffic. So those are just some of the things that I would like to recommend to you guys to help ensure the safety of our children. Okay. Thank you.
And Madam Vice President, that is all of my public comment at this time. If you want to move to I don't see your name here. Please do. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Go ahead, sir. Please state your name and...
Yeah, good evening. My name is Winston McFarlane. I live at 204 Brunswick Avenue.
Okay.
By the Jamaican restaurant. Alright, I've been living there from 1995. And I never have an issue. Don't want the state or nothing like that. I have permission to clean up the lot across the street from me, which is 193. And I have been cleaning that lot from ever since. And it was a woodland when I started to clean it up. And I've been cleaning from ever since 95 until now. Since I opened my restaurant, I bought a truck. And I've been parking the truck there and everything, and I've been keeping like back to school events while I'm there. I came home from work, and there was a note on my truck said, I'm no longer allowed to park there. Anyway, I came down to the city to find out what is the reason why they told me I'm no longer to park there. They told me that the premises have been sold to an investor, which is, all these years I've been cleaning that lot. No one ever asked me how it's been cleaned. No one asked me nothing about it. My wife took sick and I went to the hospital a couple weeks ago. Came home, I got a big ticket on my truck. I went to the police station to find out why I received the ticket. They told me the truck I've been parking there and it's residential area. So I have to come to the city to find out why I got the ticket. So when I came down here, they told me that a law had been passed 3 weeks ago saying that no truck is allowed to park in city premises. Now, if the city is going to pass a law like that, I think the city should send out a bulletin, prepare, put somewhere for business owners like us who have trucks to maintain their business, you know, if they don't want to park in the street. Now, I don't think it's fair for us as a business owner who own a restaurant cannot allow to park where we live at. And next thing, it's not fair. The reason why I say it's not fair, because where are we going to park our vehicle? There are no way to park our vehicle but on the street where we live at. So this is the question that I want to ask you guys about what is right from what is wrong. You know? I remember a couple of years ago, I tried to purchase a building at 720 Martin Luther King Boulevard. They told me that the building was sold, and the building is still not sold. The other day, I went to see a building on Brunswick Avenue, which is 346. They told me the premises cannot be sold. They're going to demolish it. But yet still, the premises is sold. So I would like to find out what is going on. You know, because me as a young youth who trying to do something for this in this city, because I've been living here for 41 years. I went to Trenton High School, graduated from Trenton High School. When I was going to Trenton High School, we used to have food drive, where we used to take food to right down here and West of the Street, right down there in East State Street, where we used to pick up canteen and so forth. And I'm still doing like back to school event. And at the end of the day, it's like, you know,
20 seconds, sir, or 13 seconds.
You know, something, you know, just, I want some answers.
Understood.
I need some answers.
So that is your time at this point in time. Who's on public comment, and we apologize if I didn't, and I should be able to say that every meeting. Who's on public comment, you are able to address any matter that you wish. You have 5 minutes to do so, which we, but council, it is not a Q&A session, so the council is not obliged to respond to you at this time. If they wish to address you with their comments, then they can do so. For that matter, if you have any questions, I would encourage you to come during business hours. I understand. Hopefully, there's a budget that they will address you, or if there is an administration that they will wish to they may choose to do so. But this is conclusion of
Sure, if I recommend you also put something right in the clerk's office, and then probably the best way to address it. Put something in writing to the clerk, to the council, to the clerk, and then he can disseminate to the council and as well as the proper department heads, and we can take potentially back to it as well.
I'm going to hang out for a little bit, sir, but I can give my email address, et cetera. Madam President, that is all the news. Madam Vice President, I apologize, that is all the news I have for public comment. Councilman.
Yes. We'll start with Councilwoman Williams.
So I just have a few announcements. But first of all, we have something really good happening tomorrow night, which is going to be our first North Ward Citizens Police Advisory Council meeting, and it's located at Galilee Baptist Church at 440 Martin Luther King Boulevard. Reverend Harris and his church have allowed us to come in and start our meetings there in the hall. And so if anyone could attend, it's between 5:30 and 7 p.m. We are going to have members of the police department as well as the street teams joining us. And we've invited a lot of different folks from across the North Ward. So we're really happy about that, and encourage everyone who lives in the North Ward, if you can come, please do. And there's extra flyers on the sign-up table in the back. Please take them and spread the word for us. As far as some other good news, so tomorrow will be the first time that we started a partnership, per se, between Councilwoman Figueroa Kettenberg and myself and the South Ward and the North Ward to have Mr. Onteri and his great Public Works Department have the street sweeper come down to do the entirety of Lamberton Street, Center Street, and 2nd Street from beginning to end on one side of the street. And then next Wednesday, they're going to do the other side of the street. It has a great efficient way to try to get the street sweeper to the places that it normally doesn't go, because Wednesday's the free day for that to occur. So we're really happy about that, and thank you, Director Onteri and your staff for making this happen for us. Also, Thursdays, in a couple of days, girls varsity have a game at the same time, 4 p.m. at Hamilton High West. And again, the girls' game is at home, the boys' game is at Hamilton High West. Regarding the Guatemala parade the other day, I just want to tell you, we, great number of members of council were at the parade, and it was really just a stupendous experience just to see such positivity in the streets, see so many people out having a good time, a safe good time, showing their pride, taking great pride in their heritage, their history, and so forth. And it was just wonderful to be able to experience that firsthand, and it's something we can be proud of, particularly going forward as we try to really connect with our different ethnic cultures. And one of the great things coming is actually a committee on this effect that Councilwoman Feliciano initiated for us to be able to embrace that more fully in our city. As well as coming up on this coming Sunday is the Peace Walk that will be occurring in all 4 wards in Trenton from 1 to 4 p.m. It's sponsored by the Trenton Restored Street Team and Salvation Social Justice. And there will be 4 walks, one starting in the west from West State Street and Parkside, another one in the east from Great Grant Park, and South Trenton from Broad and Liberty Street, and in North Trenton at Father Rocco Park. So that would be great if everyone could
come and attend that event also, march with us. And finally, I just want to address to Mr. Winston. I'm really sorry that this is happening. You and I talked on the phone about it. I did have a conversation with Director Richardson, who's up here in front, and I'm sure she would like to chat with you further about what's happening with commercial vehicles particularly. But that's something, like I said on the phone we chatted, we're trying to balance out everything, and hopefully with your business we might be able to find a way to resolve this situation, sir. So with that, just want to thank everyone for coming tonight, and a lot of good things have happened. Have a great week, and we'll hopefully see you on Thursday.
Councilwoman Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for coming. I just wanted to say thank you again to Foundation Academy's National Honor students for stopping in today and gracing us with their wonderful presentation. I hope that word gets out about that, and we can encourage other students at other schools to also do the same and come in here and participate in our local government. In light of gun violence, I don't want to be repetitive, but it's been on an uptick recently. So if you can make it out this Sunday, I'm going to be leading the march, or one of the leaders of the march from the East Ward, from Red Grant Park. This is ending at Mill Hill, so if you can't walk, that's the meetup point. We really need the community to come out and support this walk. Gun violence has to stop. A personal friend of mine, her daughter is a family member of mine, 9 years old, and her father was just murdered the other day for no reason at all. This cannot continue to happen. We have to put our resources in the right places and really get aggressive with implementing plans and things in our city that's going to drive economic development, drive our housing crisis to improve home ownership, improve our education, and really getting into our youth, because they are the ones that's really in these trenches committing these crimes. And though he was a grown man, a lot of this stuff is stimulated from the teenagers. So I would just urge us to just please continue the hard work. Our administration has been doing an excellent job, so I just want to commend you on that. But we have a long way to go. I want to speak to another public safety crisis, these speedings in the city. Our school zones should be a priority for our administration to work on. No one should have to submit a permit application, petition to Mr. Santora to get speed bumps in our school zones. So I would respectfully urge the administration to make our school zones a priority. No one should have to go out and go door to door to sign anything. We know there's a problem. We know full well we are 30 crossing guards understaffed, or 20 or so roughly, I can't remember what the number is. And even if every position available was filled, it still did not resolve the issue. Speed bumps need to be installed in every last single school zone, and that needs to be a priority for our city, for the safety of our children. A lot of these schools have been, and God, I cannot understand why we would put a school on Parish Street or Cash Street or in these dangerous areas. These schools are not even adequate for our students. They have no playgrounds, they have no green spaces, they are in dangerous, traffic-ridden places. And these parents are careless, unfortunately, and people that are driving by with no kids, of course they don't care. It's not their kids. And God forbid it becomes one of theirs, and then they'll be up in here. And so I would urge, again, respectfully, make speed bumps a priority in these school zones. As per the conversation about the commercial vehicles. I understand where you're coming from, where you were parking your commercial vehicle in your residential area for a long time. Unfortunately, we have had issues with enforcing our laws and ordinances. That was a pre-existing law that was not just put into effect recently. This has been something that has been in place for a long time, and we could look into that to see exactly how long that has been, but we had an enforcement issue. We were letting things slide too much. So I would urge the administration to look into finding a location for commercial vehicle parking somewhere in the city, and that could be another stream of revenue for us as well, where our tractor trailer trucks, commercial vans and things like that can safely park their vehicles and they can pay a monthly fee. That's another stream of revenue that takes them out of the residential areas and everyone's happier for it. So I would encourage you all to look into implementing that idea, and that brings me to the end of my comments. And thank you all for coming out again.
Thank you. Councilman Harrison.
I don't have anything to say tonight. Thanks everybody for coming out. Thank you.
Councilwoman Figueroa Gettner.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. First of all, again, thanks for everybody coming out. I wanted to thank the individuals who came out from Foundation Academy with their concerns about the speeding vehicles on Grand Street and Adeline Street off of Cass Street. That is not only my purview, that's not only where I am a councilwoman, but it's also where I'm born and raised, so I'm very well aware of the issues in that area. I have had many conversations with, our transportation and traffic departments with regards to where we could put additional stop signs and speed bumps and, where we can adhere to safety standards when it comes to, our children and our residents, etc. There are laws in place with regards to where we can and cannot place speed bumps and stop signs and things of that nature. But I am working and I will press this issue with regards to Adeline and Grand and Cass Street because we do have a lot of school children there. I visited those schools and, we definitely want to keep it safe. So, thank you to the Foundation Academy for bringing that to our attention. Also, these things have been addressed and we will continue to address them. We have so many issues with regards to schools, parking, and just safety altogether. So just know that we are paying attention and we are trying to address these issues. The city has been inundated with requests from all council members, from the community. I think that the city of Trenton, for once and for all, feels like the city is listening and is answering requests, so we are trying to get as much work as we can get done at this point. But that is something that should be a priority for all of us. With regards to the commercial vehicles, as Councilwoman Edwards did state, this was an ordinance that has been in place for some time and is now being enforced. I have definitely spoken to individuals about subletting some parking lots within the city so that, individuals, instead of parking their vehicles in the streets, because the ordinance reads that between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m., utility vehicles over 60,000 pounds cannot be parked in residential areas. That is as the ordinance reads. It was last updated in 2016. It has not been enforced, as Councilwoman Edwards has stated. But we are willing to work with the residents to find alternate resolutions or solutions for where these utility vehicles can be parked so they're not parked in front of some of these residential areas. We have issues with our high school students not being able to park in the streets because they can't park in the parking lot of Trenton Central High School, but yet we have utility vehicles parked in the streets in residential areas. So it's all problematic. So we are trying to really problem solve the area for everybody to make it make sense. So again, thank you for bringing those issues to us. I also want to piggyback off of Councilwoman Williams, thanking Ms. Onateri and Mr. Way. Thank you guys for allowing this new street sweeper schedule, for also delivering the flyers throughout South Trenton, Lambert Street, Center Street, Second Street, so that, you know, people with issues, they can start getting adjusted to moving your vehicles when it is a street sweeping day. So that a street sweeper does not come through the city of Trenton, because everybody wants a street sweeper, but nobody wants to move their vehicles. So when street sweepers do come through the city, they know to move their vehicles so that the street sweepers can properly clean the streets. So thank you, Ms. Onateri, again, and Mr. Way and Councilwoman Williams, for putting this in effect. And hopefully this will exemplify throughout the city, and we can start doing this as other cities do. You know, so when street sweepers come through, they're not just going around all the cars, which basically defeats the purpose. As far as garbage cans, I think that it was brought up, you know, we have more garbage cans around the city, or garbage cans for the residents. I was told no. Councilman VP Feliciano said that. I think Ms. Onateri said that there were garbage cans available. Okay, how do the residents go about getting them? Okay. It's just really quickly, just to let them know.
That does get it through sanitation, you know.
Through sanitation. Okay, all right. And then basically, I'll just cut it at that. I had a few other things to say, but, and also, know anybody that wants to adopt dogs? Please, we need shelter dogs adopted from this shelter in Trenton. Please encourage your family, friends, people outside of Trenton, inside Trenton, to adopt some of our dogs. They're at risk of being euthanized. Thank you.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Yes, I'm going to be brief. Thank you, everyone, for being present. First, I just wanted to say, give my condolences to both the families, the young man who Councilwoman Edwards spoke on, and also the Ozario family, which is a student at my school. This mother has lost 2 kids in less than a year and a half. So my condolences go out to that family. Thank you to the Foundation Academy students who were here and presented. We appreciate you all taking the time out and being here with us to give your input and the solutions that you all created. Thank you to the administrators and directors for the budget presentation also. And just a quick thank you to everyone who attended our Party and Sober event last Saturday. And a huge congratulations to the Guatemalan Association. Also to the Aiken family who hosted a barbecue in honor of those we have lost to gun violence and other things. Also, just on the commercial vehicles, I think that was a great idea that Councilwoman Edwards spoke on. I was going to say something that we can all come to the table and come up with a solution as to having some type of space for those commercial vehicles, because I know that that is an issue for a lot of business owners in our city, but then it's also an issue for our residents and us having things in front of our homes. Speed bumps and flashing lights, of course, it would be great if we can implement that in our school zones, even if we can't do the speed bumps, but we can enforce the flashing lights, do things that are a little bit more visible for those who like to speed through those areas. And I think that's it for tonight. Thank you all for being present.
Thank you everyone for being present tonight. And for those that participated, through public comment or presentation or an idea, to the children from Foundation, to Ivy for giving your ideas, thank you very, very much. You know, we listen very intensely to when people come before us, and we look to move in the best fashion possible to help do the right thing by the city and the residents. With that being said, I hope everyone has a great night, safe travels, and we will do it again on Thursday.
Madam President, if you want to ask for a motion to adjourn.
May I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Good night, everyone.
All say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?